Everybody psyched for the big game this weekend? Yeah, big at Parks Casino in Shippensburg. Live entertainment every weekend at Parks Casino. As a matter of fact, Friday night live comedy, and then the local music scene is highlighted every Saturday night inside the Side Pocket, their special venue. Tonight, Comedy Central comedian Richie Byrne kicks off the weekend. And don't forget this, because it's the 1-year anniversary at Parks. $70,000 in free slot play and cash prizes every Friday in February. 5 lucky guests win $500 in free slot play every hour from 5 until 10 p.m. Action, entertainment, excitement, fine dining, great stuff. The Liberty Bar and Grill. If you're in Hagerstown, Maryland, Winchester, Virginia, Martinsburg, West Virginia, Chambersburg, PA, Carlisle, PA, go to the Parks Casino in Shippensburg, just off Interstate 81, and have some fun. Visit parkscasino.com for the details. Got to be 21 for the casino. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, headlines now from the Friday edition of the Smerconish newsletter. As I've been discussing, the lead story is this DOJ report on President Biden's handling of classified documents and information. He's had a really rough couple of days. And the problem with the things afflicting Joe Biden, politically speaking, they can't get better. Like, by definition, it's going to catch up with all of us at some point. First, was the mistake about Helmut Kohl, and then Francois Mitterrand. And then I said, I'm sure this is why he's not doing a Super Bowl interview, is because the White House and the campaign, they don't want to run the risk of yet another gaffe. And then al-Sisi, he mistook the Mexican president for the Egyptian president last night when he came out in that 7:45 presser last night that was totally unexpected in response to the DOJ report. And I've been saying this, and I want to sort of underscore that the White House response and the president's response is to say that the references to his poor memory in this DOJ report about his handling of classified information was gratuitous, a cheap shot. Okay, a cheap shot, that they went out of their way to try and embarrass him. And like, how dare they say that he couldn't remember the passing, the date of Beau Biden's passing? That's not the way I interpreted it. First of all, my takeaway is that Biden was incredibly lax, incredibly negligent. He was careless with his handling of classified information, well beyond what I anticipated, what I expected to see, having followed this story closely. And those photographs are horrible. Those images of the way in which the president of the United States was treating classified information are absolutely reminiscent of Donald Trump putting things behind a toilet at Mar-a-Lago. His conversations with a ghostwriter were recorded on tape. His conversations with the DOJ were recorded on tape. I don't think we're ever going to hear that information, but it exists. And I don't think that Robert Hur went out of his way to embarrass the president. If anything, I agree with my friend, the law professor, Shane Inspector, who said there's a way of looking at this that Hur actually did him a favor. Because but for the references to Biden's memory, the question becomes, well, why wasn't he prosecuted? Why isn't he being prosecuted? If you read the report, and again, in first position at Smerconish.com today is the report itself. I could have gone with any number of analyses. I didn't want to do that. I want to give you the report. It's a couple of hundred pages long, and it's dense, but there are different parts of it that you can float around and you can read. And I'll give you a couple of citations into things that I found to be most significant. The report starts this way. Our investigation uncovered evidence that President Biden willfully retained and disclosed, my emphasis, classified materials after his vice presidency when he was a private citizen. These materials included marked classified documents about military foreign policy in Afghanistan and notebooks containing Mr. Biden's handwritten entries about issues of national security and foreign policy implicating sensitive intelligence sources and methods. Further along, I'll just give you one citation. It's page I'll go to 208. In his interview with our office, Mr. Biden's memory was worse. He did not remember when he was vice president, forgetting on the first day of the interview when his term ended. if it was 2013 when I did, if it was 2013, when did I stop being vice president? And forgetting on the second day of the interview when his term began in 2009, am I still vice president? He did not remember even within several years when his son Bo died, and his memory appeared hazy when describing the Afghanistan debate that was once so important to him. Among other things, he mistakenly said that he had a real difference of opinion with General Carl Eikenberry, when in fact Eikenberry was an ally whom Biden cited approvingly in his Thanksgiving memo to President Obama. Was it gratuitous? Did the special counsel go out of his way just to embarrass the president in an election year? I don't think so. I mean, here's the rationale that is offered in the report. In a case where the government must prove that Mr. Biden knew he had possession of the classified Afghanistan documents after the vice presidency and chose to keep those documents knowing he was violating the law, we expect that at trial, his attorneys would emphasize these limitations in his recall. And then in a different part of the memo, in addition, Mr. Biden's memory was significantly limited both during his recorded interviews with the ghostwriter in 2017 and in his interview with our office in 2023, and his cooperation with our investigation, including by reporting that the Afghanistan documents were in his Delaware garage, will likely convince some jurors that he made an innocent mistake rather than acting willfully, that is, with intent to break the law as the statute requires. If those facts weren't in this report, then I think we'd be saying, well, wait, why aren't you prosecuting him? He's not being prosecuted, let's be clear, in large part because of his faulty memory. So you could argue that actually Robert Hur is doing him a favor. Look, it's really embarrassing. And I know everybody wants to say, well, Trump. I said the same thing about Trump. I've been saying to you that the cleanest case against Donald Trump is the Mar-a-Lago case. Because on the facts, there's no defense. The only defense for Donald Trump in the Mar-a-Lago case is if Trump can say that the search warrant was improperly executed, that the attorney-client privilege was improperly breached. On the fundamental facts of did he have the information and refused to hand it back, they got him stone cold. And those pictures are horrible, but so are the Biden pictures. They were both reckless and for different reasons. You know, in Trump's case, not excusing it, but he wanted to maintain shiny objects. I think both to stroke his own ego and to show off to his friends. In Biden's case, it was to write a book and to protect his legacy. To protect his legacy, particularly on Afghanistan, where he wanted to so carefully document how he disagreed with President Obama on the surge. So for different reasons, but similar conduct, and politically speaking, it's horrible for him. But I don't think that Hur went out of his way as a cheap shot. And I think to read the report is to appreciate the lax way in which he handled secretive information. And I don't think that he helped himself coming out last night. You know, as they say, he came in hot. He came in hot. And I think the idea was that he was going to appear, you know, with vim and vigor, and he was upset. Like, how dare they reference Bo like that? It's not going away. It's not going away. I mean, look, the whole country is about to commune on Super Bowl Sunday. We're all going to be together, Super Bowl Sunday, before, during, and after. He was handed in an election year an opportunity to face the nation and appear on television and talk about what's going on in the country. And they passed that up because there's no other reason why he bypasses that opportunity other than concern of a gaffe. There's no way they're going to be able to shield him now. Everything is going to be scrutinized, as it should, with him and with Trump. But I was surprised by the report for all the reasons that I've said. Also, speaking of communing, let's commune with one another. Join me April 7, which is a Sunday, in Sellersville, Pennsylvania, at the Sellersville Theater. Allow me to present to you the Mingle Project. What's wrong with this country? On a personal level, on a political level, and how do we solve it? I'm bringing ideas, and I'm elated that so many of you already are planning on joining me then. Okay. More headlines now from the Friday edition of the newsletter, TC. It has been an insane news cycle. When I think about yesterday, look at the fact that yesterday, two full hours of the program dedicated to an argument as to whether Donald Trump gets knocked off the ballot, and it's hardly even a blip on today's program.
It's not even,
because there's so much other stuff going on. Walk me through other headlines from the newsletter, if you would.
Yeah, it's been extraordinary, and it's been extraordinary. I just have to say, a really heavy week for voting for the poll question at Smerconish.com, which we appreciate so much. We're used to getting, I don't know, like maybe 15 or 20,000 votes. We've been getting 25 to 30,000 votes this week, which is amazing. So as you mentioned yesterday, the question was, will the Supreme Court remove Donald Trump from the Colorado ballot? 27,041 votes. That's incredible. And 83% said, no, they will not, which does seem to be correct. The correct answer. Right, yeah. Exactly. You tweeted last night about the Tucker Carlson interview, and the poll question today: was it appropriate for Tucker Carlson to interview Vladimir Putin? Please, everyone, go vote on that. Do you want to make a comment on that one?
I do. I want to say that the lead item at Smerconish.com today is the actual DOJ report on Donald Trump. And in second position in the newsletter today, again, I had a lot of choices. I gave you the link to the Tucker Carlson YouTube interview with Putin. It is 2 hours long. I watched an hour of it last night, and then I just petered out because I'd been up so long and had read in on so much. I'm going back for hour 2. I thought the word I'm using is insightful. I'm not buying into Putin's shtick, but I wanted to take measure of the man. And I got to tell you this, we better elect a president who is sharp. I'll just say it. I don't think that Biden or Trump are up to Vladimir Putin. This guy opened the interview with Tucker Carlson and spoke extemporaneously for 30 minutes about the fine details of Russian history. I don't think anybody of our recent presidents could do likewise with American history. So I learned things. I'm totally ready for, me being in the minority view. Was it appropriate for Tucker Carlson to interview Vladimir Putin? I want to learn. I want to know. Don't shield me. I can handle the truth. Just because I watched Vladimir Putin doesn't mean that I'm buying into everything that he's offering. So I thought it was worthwhile. And that's what I'm asking in the poll question. And I've given you the link to go and watch.
Some more headlines from Smerconish.com. FCC votes unanimously to ban unsolicited AI robocalls. This is one of these instances that we've been talking about so much about AI, and now the law is going to try to catch up with the actual technology. What do you think about robocalls?
I think it's going to be impossible to police. I mean, we're talking about this because of that fake Biden call in New Hampshire. TC, you'll remember we played it on air. It sounded like Joe Biden. And I think it's the tip of the iceberg. Yeah, I think it's the tip of the iceberg. Vivian Schiller, I think, was the guest that we had from Aspen, the Aspen Institute, talking about artificial intelligence and the role that it can play in an election. And remember what I learned from her, the liar's dividend. Not only can fake information convince us of something that didn't take place, but it allows some people among us to say who were, acting inappropriately. Well, I didn't do that. That's not my picture. That's not my voice, because AI is so damn sophisticated. I'm worried.
Headline from NPR: Oregon pioneered a radical drug policy. Now it's reconsidering. So this was back in 2022. They passed, according to NPR, the most liberal drug law in the country, decriminalizing possession for small amounts of hard drugs. So what they do now is they give a citation and try to point them towards treatment. The problem is that no one's taking them up on the treatment. So I think it said in the NPR article some 7,000 citations were given to people in the throes of drug addiction or using fentanyl in public or some such thing that is deemed illegal. Well, not illegal, but worthy of a citation. And that will disappear if they go and talk about treatment, and hardly anyone does. Like, the numbers just are not adding up. So they're thinking about going back to recriminalizing the hard drugs.
I'm thinking about the conversation that we had yesterday with the editor-in-chief of the San Francisco Chronicle about the fentanyl problem in San Francisco and elsewhere. I don't know the solution. I don't know the solution. I just know that it's out of control and it's touching everybody. And if you're not a degree of separation from someone fighting these battles, I fear you will be soon, because the spike just continues to rise.
In general, are you satisfied or dissatisfied with the way things are going in your personal life at this time? That is the question that
Yeah,
Gallup asked. And according to their headline and their article, less than half of Americans are very satisfied with their own lives, 1 point shy of a record low, 47%.
we have to it's been so politically busy this week. Please remind me, TC, to circle back to this next week. Maybe we'll bring Mohammed Yunus on from Gallup and talk
So
about
good.
this.
Yeah.
I'm really taken with it. I'm also contemplating a poll question at Smerconish.com that mirrors something. I want to know about our audience. Are you very satisfied with the way that things are going in your personal life? Maybe we'll do it and then do a comparison between ourselves and the national sample.
Okay, and how about how much are 2024 Super Bowl tickets? You have a
A
link at
lot.
Smerconish.com. Yeah, spoiler alert, that have prices for the average, cheapest, and most expensive seats. You're right. You just said it. Just a lot.
So the cheapest face value, meaning the way it was issued from the NFL, was $2,000. The cheapest seat at the Super Bowl face value is $2,000. And if you got any seat for $2,000 today, it'd be like cheap, dirt cheap.
Oh, yeah, no, there's nothing like that. It's unbelievable. And the most expensive were something like $45,000 a ticket. I mean, even Donna Kelsey was saying that she couldn't afford a box. Like no one's paying for the boxes because they were something like $2 million or even more than that. So
That is
yeah,
insane. It is
I know.
absolutely. If I had FU money, I can't think of anything that $45,000 to get for one ticket to go to an event. I don't know.
Right.
And I love the story that we also have about Taylor Swift and how like some people are now pulling for San Francisco just because,
Yeah,
they don't want to be on her team. I mean, come on.
the right wing. Yeah, that's what the headline says. How Taylor Swift have driven some far right pundits to do the unthinkable. Cheer for San Francisco. Yeah, it's a great one. It is a great article. How about this one? Toby Keith was an enigma wrapped in a riddle, wrapped in a flag. A really, really in-depth, interesting piece by Michael Patrick Smith in the New York Times, going in deep on Toby Keith and what he was all about.
Loved it. He was nuanced. Toby Keith was nuanced, and some people
Yeah.
wanted to read into him one way or the other. He performed at Trump's inauguration. I think it was the night before at the memorial, Lincoln Memorial, and people were like, "Oh, Toby Keith is with Trump." Even Toby Keith voted for Obama. I mean, Toby Keith was, I think, like the rest of us, a complicated individual, but not the type that we portray on TV, who are either hard right or hard left. I read that piece, gang. It's really great. Michael Patrick F. Smith wrote it, and I came away thinking I like Toby Keith even more now than I did when he was. Well, that sounds morbid to say. How about this? I respect him even more today, knowing what I now know that I didn't know when he was alive. That's what I mean to say.
And how about the piece that you have from Yahoo News? Florida mom admits her OnlyFans shows explicit material after kids are expelled from Christian school.
Yeah, they didn't want the OnlyFans mom known as Piper Fawn, picking up her kids
Oh,
at the
you want to
Christian
repeat it
school.
again?
They they don't
She had
want.
a decal on her car. I'm not sure what the
Yes,
decal showed on her
yes.
car, but she had a decal on her car. So there you go.
Ladies and gentlemen, we so appreciate you. We've had such a wonderful week here together. Please keep voting on the poll question. I hope I see you on CNN. We'll do the YouTube at 7:30, and then tomorrow's program totally blown up because of all the DOJ news about the president and documents. Come see me in Sellersville. My social media has all of those details. Can't thank you enough. Enjoy the big game. See ya.